Gary Kurtz for me, was one of the first real magicians I was exposed to when I got into magic. And all of his stuff, in my opinion, is just stellar. I'm a huge fan of all of his stuff.
Me too.
And oddly enough, he's not a magician anymore. You know, he's like one of the best magicians of that era. And then at a certain point, he sort of stopped doing it. He's a Canadian. He stopped doing magic and became a mentalist and does mentalism in French. And us English speakers just have not heard of him since. And he's very successful in living his life and all is well. But I have a special place in my heart for all of this because this is the magic era of the Gary Kurtz stuff. And it's great stuff. I think you guys will agree, even just watching this first one. I think you'll agree when we get to the other side of this. Stellar handlings of classic stuff. It's really just wonderful. Very, very, very inspiring. And he was a very influential magician as well. He inspired a lot of people. Very great. So probably worth it just to get into this first one, and then we'll come back and talk about it on the other side.
Let's do it. Yes.
A pack of cards. 52 possibilities. Tom, if that is your real name. Tom, 52 cards in the deck. Would you believe that I could make you think of any one of these cards in this deck that I wanted you to think of? Yes or no? No. Thanks for your confidence in me, Tom. At the risk of surpassing your expectations, I will go on. I'll even give you a chance to change your mind, and I'll still make you think of the card you want to. How does that sound? Impressive. Play ball. Think of any one of the cards you see there. Just think of one. Which one's it going to be?
Name it.
Yes.
6 of hearts.
6 of hearts. Do you want to change your mind?
No.
Please? No. You want the 6 of hearts?
Yes.
Perfectly free choice. Count on it. Something I failed to tell you. Inside this pack, there is a marked card. A marked card.
Oh, yeah.
Out of one out of all those 52 possibilities, you thought of my marked 6 of hearts. Ooh. Yeah. But not only did I put a marked card in the deck, earlier I removed the blue card from the deck, placed it in my pocket. That was also the 6 of hearts. That's how sure I was you were going to think of it. But for the moment, I'll leave the 6 of hearts under the card box, the blue one inside the box, because I know you may be wondering, Tom, what would happen had you thought of a different card, right?
Yes.
Oh, my. Fact of the matter is you didn't, and for that, I thank you. If, for example, you had, just call stop here, wherever you like.
Stop.
Got it? If instead of the 6 of hearts, you thought of a different card, for example, the one that she's thinking of right now, I'd probably have to resort to magic to save my reputation. If you would come forward just for a bit. Place your finger on top of the marked card on the X. On the count of 3, I want you to name the card you were thinking of. 1, 2, 3.
9 of hearts.
Take a look.
Everybody.
Yes. Not only that, but the card in the box is also the 9 of hearts. How sure I was going to think of it. The implications are astounding.
That's strong, man.
That is a really strong effect.
Yeah, it's a very, very basic, classic plot that we all know and love, but he sure did soup that thing up into a monster, didn't he? He made it so clean, and the lines are so distinct. There's like no way to backtrack. It's all just very clear. How? You're just looking at it. How could it be? Because everything's on the table, right? Just little tiny things, little tiny adjustments.
And the handling is straightforward, really. It's not all that difficult. I mean, there's a certain set of skills you have to have, but
absolutely.
But it's not all that difficult. It's very straightforward. I love it. I love that. And,
mostly it's a presentation change, right?
Yeah,
it's not as much. Yeah, sorry.
Look at all you get for one stranger.
That's right.
You know, we were talking about this last night, right? We were talking about this new book that just came out on the market. Was it Napez?
Napez, yeah.
Yeah.
And how, people really don't always understand how to take great close-up effects and translate them to stand-up or stage. And how do you feel like Gary was able to take sort of some of those classic close-up effects and do that?
I think that he's a master of that very thing, because there's many effects in his repertoire that are like that. They just seem like they were down on the table. They were always going to be table tricks, but he's able to work for basically a banquet room on an elevated platform, right? He did a lot of, you know, the standard stuff we talk about a lot of corporate shows where he's just working in a banquet room, right? And he's just basically trying to do things that would normally be in, you know, the palm of your hand and bring them up. This is a great example of that, because normally a trick like this, you're focusing on a table, the cards are spread on the table, you sort of gather around the magician when they're doing this particular effect. But with this one, you could be standing in the back of the room and every moment of that was so clear, you know exactly what's going on, there's no question. So you're with them. And when you're just with someone, you're just now in the conversation, and now you're just on the ride. And when you're on the ride, now there's possibility for magic to happen. A mystery can be turned on. So yeah, really wonderful. Really wonderful.
Loved it.
Let's do another one. That was awesome.
Let's do another one. This next one is another classic plot, but he's changed it, turned it on its ear, and made it into something different. Let's check it out. This is great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Almost as good the second time. Oleg, you believe in destiny? That seemingly random actions aren't necessarily random, but sometimes guided by unseen forces, by the hand of fate. When I word it so dramatically, you can't help but be dumbstruck. Okay. This envelope contains this man's destiny. Not your ultimate destiny, Tom, so don't worry. I want you to come on up here for a second. Give the cards a shuffle. Quick little shuffle. That's good. Quick and little. I'm going to turn my head. I'm going to turn my head. As I riffle through the cards, just tell me when to stop, wherever you like.
Stop.
Right there. You want me to go 1 or 2 cards further? Stop right there.
Right there.
Right there. Take the card. Look at it. Remember it. In fact, I want you to sign your name on it. So when destiny comes to meet you, you'll recognize its signature. He wrote his name and hers and a few other people there, too. Come along. Place it back into the deck wherever you like. Dramatic pose. Thanks, wherever you like. Remember the card. I know you won't forget your name. It's one of my bar tricks. At this point, you may be expecting me to try and find your card, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I don't have to. Because Oleg has the envelope. If you would, Oleg, dramatically, and at the same time very carefully, hand it to Tom. Tear it open, dramatically, and at the same time carefully. Okay, do it in 3 steps.
Okay. I got
Take out what you find, hold it up high where everyone can see. Another envelope. The suspense builds. And inside this envelope, yet another envelope. And inside this envelope, with any luck, 3 cards. Put them there myself. I don't know why I'm saying any luck. 3 cards, which will hopefully tell me something a little bit about your card. The first card, as the 6 of clubs, is a club. 1 in 4 chance that you chose a club. Did you choose a club?
Yes, I did.
Good. The bottom card, the 4 of hearts, a 4. 1 in 13 chance that you chose a 4. Did you choose a 4?
Yes.
So far, so good. This one told me it was a club. This one told me it was a 4. You know what the middle card tells me? How you sign your name.
I've never seen that before.
No.
Souvenir. Souvenir, Tom. Don't tell me I never gave you anything but a good time.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Never seen that handling of that. Have you?
No.
Well, I have, just because I'm a super fan, and you know, this was like one of the first things I got into as a magician. But before that, no. But before that, I was pretty green, so I hadn't seen really anything.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen him work. You know, I've read some stuff. I've seen other people do his stuff, but I don't think I've seen him. And I'm really surprised at like his demeanor. You know, it's very fun, you know, and I'm kind of shocked by that, I guess. I confess I'd never seen him before though.
He was working a lot of comedy clubs in addition to doing the corporate scene. Another famous magician that I know he was friendly with at the time was Richard Sanders. And Richard seemed to be in a similar path where he was working a lot of comedy and trying to integrate as much comedy into the magic as he could, so that it was, you know, the tennis match of bouncing back and forth and so forth. But yeah, it's definitely a different tongue-in-cheek presentation for all this stuff. He's really, you know, sort of hanging in a place where he's I don't know, just sort of poking fun at magic in addition to doing like knock you down killer magic, right? He's like just like sort of poking fun at the whole process, and it makes it real light and easy to hang out and be a part of. You don't feel threatened in any way, and I think that's a good lesson for magicians, you know, just to see a guy really being able to set people at ease like that, you know.
Our members have been chatting about it, and it's very true. Yes, that was a great force. We'll talk about it in the after show. It was really good though, and also the handling of the envelopes. I think it was all beautiful. Let's talk about it in the after show because I think you've got some work on that, right, Alex?
Sure, but there's probably another one. I have a feeling it might be this next one. This is a thing that we might want to talk about in the after show because this thing sort of became legendary, and it's only on video. It was never in print. This is just a great handling of a classic coin trick. You might recognize it and you might not, but he took something that is like a standard, what could be considered a standard dealer's item, and he made it into something far beyond what it ever could be, the way you all know it. So
that kind of thing.
this thing is awesome. I love this. I love this. Let's check this out.
Next trick. Before we get into that, 2 cards. I want you to just touch 2 cards. There's one, the 3 of spades and the 2 of clubs. It's not a card trick though, so you don't have to remember them. I'm easy in my audience whenever possible. It's a bit of coin magic, as you can tell, small change. 3 coins from 3 different countries of the world. An old British penny, picked it up in England. No, I picked it up in London, Ontario, Canada. American $50, picked it up in Detroit, came home alive. Mexican 20 centavo, worthless, so it doesn't really matter where it's from. 2 copper coins, 1 silver, thereby making the silver coin the odd man out. Right. So if you were to snap your fingers over the coins, snap, 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 click, 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 you see it is the old odd coin out. And it's probably out over here. But since it is the odd coin out, I am going to leave it out underneath the cards. Okay, underneath the cards there. You can keep an eye on it, very close. Silver coin there, the 20 centavo, the penny. Do you hear them click? So did I. Funny part is I don't think we heard them click here. An oral illusion, you probably heard them click over here. It's okay, it's probably my fault. But this time, to make it simpler, I'm going to use just 1 card. The penny I'm going to leave beside the $50, closer to you. Okay, farther away from me. 20 centavo. To make this one the most impossible, I want you to place your hand on top of the coins, on top of the card. On top of the coins, on top of the card. Don't move. To make this one the most impossible, I want you to hold on to my wrist there. Say go.
Go.
Come on. Ooh. The hard part now, just the 3 coins, 2 copper coins, 1 silver. If I were to take the silver coin here, what would that leave in this hand?
2 copper.
Right, you've heard of foreign exchange, haven't you? I've seen it. Ooh, 1 more time, 2 copper coins, 1 silver. You remember the last time I took the silver coin out? I went like this, had the silver coin here, 2 coppers. Remember that? 1 more time, you'll understand for sure. 2 coppers and silver. Actually, the last 2 times I took the silver out. This time I'll leave it there. If you hold out your hand, I will hand you the penny and the 20 centavo, leaving me with the $50. Don't drop them like the last guy did. I'll take this one, drop it here, the other one, drop it there, the penny and the 20 centavo. Okay.
That was amazing.
Right? So there's another thing you should know about this. Imagine this. Imagine that whole same thing happened, but instead the lady was sitting right where he's placing the coins down on the table. Or he's sitting right where the coins are. He's sitting down, and the lady comes up behind him and is covering his eyes, and he's doing all of that stuff, and she's just right there while he's doing the whole thing. He sort of up the ante and changed the performance and made it just even more hard hitting. And I'm wrong now. Now I'm thinking about it. He's standing behind her. She's sitting at the table, and he's doing that while he's crouched over her. And all of those things are basically happening under her nose on the table, and they're all appearing under those coins while she's sitting there, and they're sitting right in front of her. And it's, even without that, I think it's the most stellar handling I've ever seen of this trick before in my life. And it makes it into a real showpiece instead of it being like, if you're familiar with this thing as an old school magic store dealer's item, it's a real basic trick. There's like 3 phases, and it's like, oh great, there it was, and you did it, and who cares? Right? And with this, it's like it's elevating up to that place where you get to appreciate how amazing the trick is that you're actually buying, right? Because when you get to the place where where those coins are changing places, where it's 2 coppers for the silver and you're going like this and it changes, like that's impossible. But generally that's the whole trick. And you don't have any way to appreciate how magical that is because you've never seen any magic before. You're getting to know the performer. They're doing a couple things. And by the time you get to know the person, the trick's over and you can't be there with the mystery and actually enjoy it. This thing has all those really big, mysterious things happen that are just basic sleight of hand things at the beginning. So that by the time you get to the meat of what that thing is, it hits you so hard and there's nothing to backtrack to. And it's just so good. Yeah, I'm a fan. I love this trick so much. So good, man.
Well, we've also learned that Gary Kurtz not only has a great mastery of cards, but coins as well. So he's got a pretty giant wheelhouse with a lot of classic magic underneath. Pretty impressive, I gotta say. I remember, you said at the beginning of this, Alex, you were talking about how Gary was a real name when you were coming up in magic, and I remember it too. I remember seeing his name everywhere, conventions, like Magic magazines, stuff like that. Like people were always talking about Gary Kurtz, and then you're right, he just disappeared, like he's just gone. I don't know where he went either. But this is pretty cool stuff, and the fact that he's got such a mastery of all the sort of classic card and coin stuff. What else does he do?
He does it all. He does it all. And really there's a book that I think is essential reading for magicians. If you're a fan of theory like I am, there's a book that Gary put out. It was really more like lecture notes. It's a thing called Leading with Your Head. Changed my life as a magician. I highly recommend you go and find this thing. It doesn't look fancy. There's no hardcover, right? It's stapled, right? It's not going to be anything beautiful on your shelf, but the essays and basically the ideas put forth there by Gary, if you're a serious performer, they will change the way you look at a lot of things, and they will put you more in tune. These notes will put you more in tune with just yourself as a performer and more in tune with your audiences and performing for them and meeting them where they're at. It's really something. And it's clear that Gary's a guy who's been there and done that. He's worked every kind of venue that you can work. And this material is the stuff he's doing in those venues. Well, when we knew him as a magician. So let's check out this next one. This is another intimate piece where you can do this with a couple. This is a great walk around piece. It's a very intimate piece. And you can see how this would be one of those things that would just accent how wonderful a relationship already is by just doing something like this and sort of just putting a little cherry on top, as it were. It's really great.
Now for something unusual, a demonstration of the power of love. You heard me right, the power of love. Two of you, a married couple, a happily married couple, I can tell. Come on down. On the right, on the left. Stand up, sit down, fight. What's your name?
Joe.
Joe and?
Doris.
Joe and Doris. Joe, I'd like to actually borrow your rings for a moment. Don't worry, I won't destroy them. In fact, I'm not even going to touch them. If you would slip your ring very carefully onto the pencil and slip yours onto the pencil. You don't have to be that careful about it. But, hold the very tip of the pencil here, and you hold the very tail of the pencil there. We're going to separate the rings and call upon the powers of love. By the way, which one of you would be the dominant person in the couple? That's what I thought. Whatever you do, don't tilt the pencil, don't move the pencil. Watch the power of love. I think you won.
That's good, man. Very good.
The power of love, yes! I think they'll be together for many years to come.
That's cool.
Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's a good walk around piece. And again, you're bringing people together, and that's a great launch point to go into something else. Even any of these other pieces that we've already seen, right? It's just a great way to sort of bring it down and then crank it back up. It's good.
Can you actually, do you have control to make the ring go either direction, Alex?
No, it definitely moves in one direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, I think the perfect little setup right there would be which one of you was more attracted to the other one, as opposed to which is the more dominant. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that popped.
right.
You know, and no matter what the answer is, it's either like, yeah, you were right, or oh, I don't know, it might be the other way around. You know, so like you're just
Probably
it's like,
probably a better line there. You're probably right.
yeah, because I wouldn't, because you know, nobody likes to find out that they're not the
And-
dominant one.
And,
You know what I
and if
mean?
it were a 6-foot pencil, it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a big pencil.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really cool take on that. Like, you know, just that kind of work. I know that's right up your alley too, Alex. You love that kind of stuff right there, don't
Yeah,
you?
well, animations definitely win the day. Anytime you
Yeah.
animate something without touching something and it starts dancing or doing something on its own, it looks real, right? It doesn't look like it's a trick. It looks like it's something else. So when you do something like that, it changes the mood.
I like his variety.
Yeah,
You know, it's a real worker's variety of stuff.
yeah. He's definitely keeping himself interested with all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And he's got
Hey.
interesting takes on so many different plots too. It's cool, right?
Mhm.
Again, I hate to throw the word around so much, but it's really inspiring. It just shows you more possibilities, you know.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
I kind of thought for a minute we were about to see a Two Rings link,
Mm.
you know, just because of that classic use of the pencil for that.
Oh, right, with the setup for it. Yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
Yeah, and then when so I was really kind of surprised. Like I thought it was heading in one direction, and it was definitely not in that direction. But it kind of sparked an idea. Like I think that I have to say thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. That might have inspired an idea or two. I kind of like that. That's a cool trick, man.
Yeah, that's super.
I was just looking up the leading with your head, right? I was just Googling it to see if I could find it. It is available. There's a couple of places, but it's not like there's not a ton of copies out there. It was written in 1992. So
Yeah.
it's 40 pages, and you're right, it's stapled together. It looks very low tech. It's kind of the way magic used to be. In case you're new to magic and you haven't, you know, been doing magic. I mean, back 30 years ago, 40 years ago even, you know, magic books were oftentimes stapled together. All right.
Yeah.
At
It
least
had
the
Your
notes.
trade. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the notes. It was the lecture notes. You had to have the
Or
lecture
they
notes.
use this clever word. They call it a manuscript.
A
That's right.
manuscript.
But
I
it was
have
really- Go
an
ahead.
entire bottom shelf of stapled together lecture notes down there.
That's where all the
Some of them
gold
in
is.
binders.
They're
Yeah.
spiral bound and cone
Some are
bound.
binders. Yeah, like all kinds of stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like back in the day, like we did have books. I mean, we had great books back in the day, but the thing is that those had to be professionally published, and you just your everyday man or woman didn't have access to go and print a book of their material out. So the often the way we self-published was to use staples and a copying machine. I mean, that's the way we disseminated almost all of the greatest lecture notes and self-published material back in the day. It's so
Mhm.
easy now because we got all these programs to do it with. You can make really nice polished books. You can print them on, you know, direct to print online and all that stuff. It's just way easier for creators these days.
Right.
I've got the same thing, Steve. I've got that giant pile of lecture notes too.
One time I was involved in liquidating a man's estate, magic estate, and there was, you know, I would say 8 to 10 like 4-foot stacks of just comb bound stuff, you
Yep.
know, and you should have seen. I mean, it's everyone knows that's where the good stuff is.
That's
So,
right.
So when we had the sale,
showpieces, man, that's the way it is.
second guy in the door, some was just like, how much for all of it? You know, it'll just take all of it because it's essentially the magic library. You know.
Yep. I often find myself buying things on eBay that are comb bound and stapled and, you know, spiral bound, because that's just the when guys are doing lectures, they're putting out the stuff they really do, and that's generally not going to be something that's in the book unless they're lecturing for so long that there's now a collection of lecture notes that become a bound book, right? And that does happen. There's plenty of those books that exist, but you know, oftentimes you're getting something one-off from a guy. He's like got his best showpiece in there along with a couple other things to support it so that it looks like a whole lecture. But that's where you get that piece of material, and that's it. It's nothing else, right? You're paying for staples and some photocopies. It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to this next one here. This one's interesting. This one is not so much Gary as the performer. And this is just something that you should know exists, because for all of us, this is a beautiful piece that we all should have something like this in our back pocket. It's an opportunity to make someone else the star. But the person that you're making a star, they have no idea how they're doing any of the stuff that they're doing. And basically it's, you know, it's card control. It's basically like a card's being selected and it's being found, but it's being found by a spectator. This spectator has no idea how he's finding the card. He's just following the instructions he was given by the magician, and he looks like a star and has no idea why he looks like a star. And it's just a fun little piece, and it's a simple thing that you could do and teach to someone so that you could have the same situation, so that at a certain point you turn the spotlight off of you, even though it's still sort of on you, and you put it on someone else and let them sort of share the limelight with you. So let's check out this next one. This is a lot of fun.
Gary's still here. Gary's going to do the card trick for you, because we have the same name. We have discovered that we have an incredible empathic ability going on between us. So we are going to do a trick for you. Glitter. I'm going to spread the card. Just touch anyone you like. Which one's it going to be? This one here? Do you want to change your mind? No. Look at it. Got it? Square it into the deck. Just push it in. Give the cards a little bit of a shuffle. And then Gary, you can come on over here. Just yeah, that's it. Good. Yeah, you got that action down. Good. Hand the deck to Gary. Gary will spread through the cards psychically using his psychic intuition. He will remove the card that you chose, with psychically, quickly. I think he has it. Well, yeah. Did you think you cut to it?
I have no idea.
What was? I think you may have cut to it. What was your card? I think we should try that again. Once could have been just a chance. Just take anyone, look at it, remember it. You got it? Just drop it back wherever you like. Thanks. Square up the cards, make sure they're a nice and neat squared pile, and then just make sure they're all together, and then give them a quick little shuffle there, quick and little. That's it. Good, and hand them to Gary. And this time, even quicker than the last time. He will spread through the cards, cut the cards. He will psychically find your card. They're cut.
Psychically found.
What was your card? Ooh. Hey. Making it a little more difficult. We're going to make it a little more difficult. I'm going to just riffle through the cards here. Actually, mix the cards up first. Just give them a quick little mix. They've been mixed by him, mixed by her, mixed by everybody. Okay, you mixed them up well. I'm going to ask you to push back the corner with your left thumb. Push back the corner. Peek at the index of one card, any card you like. Just push back the corner. You got a card? He's got a card in mind. All you have to do is ask whatever his name is. Gary. My name says Gary. Yeah, just have to ask him what the card is. He will tell you.
What's the card, Gary?
I think it's a 4 of spades.
That's exactly correct.
All right.
Yeah.
We're getting really good at this.
One more time. Give the cards a quick mix. That's it. Bend the corners. Throw them on the floor. It's good enough. For you, at home, call stop wherever you like. There. Good. You seen the card? One of these cards is in your mind. Gary will psychically tell you what card you are thinking of. Gary.
King of Hearts.
Yeah!
That's pretty good. Pretty fun.
I love that.
It's great.
Yeah, it's just so good, you know. A lot of fun. I'd like to also remark on how cool his hair is. He has that really cool, like, late 80s, maybe mid 80s hair, you know. When is this shot?
This is probably early
90s.
90s. Yeah, like maybe
Early 90s. It was still
91
happening.
or 2, right around there. Yeah, it was still in.
He still has a
friend-
website. You can go to his website, Gary Kurtz. Just Google him, and you can go to his website. You can kind of see an updated picture of him. It's the same basic hair. I mean, I don't think the hair has
Guys-
changed.
Guys like that piss me off, but never mind.
Oh, you guys that have
move
hair?
on.
You were talking about?
Well, yeah, here they are 30 years later, and their hair's the same. I mean,
Oh, right. Or it's actually more hair.
I've literally morphed into a thumb. You know.
Oh, that's funny.
So this trick, my friend does it with his wife, and his wife has no idea how it works. Right? She just plays along, and it's funny watching him do it with his wife because she is as impressed as the rest of the audience every time he does it. It's really a funny moment. So yeah, I being able to see it up close like that with a friend that does it, it made me love this thing just a little bit more because it's really cool. I think that's a really cool piece of magic.
It's awesome. What's the name of it?
This is called Sharing the Limelight, or the Code of Silence.
Code of Silence. Yeah.
Code of Silence. Yeah. So let's do one more. This is another thing that Gary is really famous for, and we'll look at a little bit more from Gary, and we'll get in a little bit more of this. But this is coin magic, and Gary, if you've never seen Gary do any coin magic, it is very visual, and I would say sometimes otherworldly. I won't say much more. Let's just watch it, and we'll talk about it when it's finished.
Guys, we're getting good. One coin, a bit of visual stimulation. One coin. Actually, this may be a little hard for some of the people in the back to see, so I will make it bigger. Ooh. Reacts in an almost masculine fashion. Of course, I could make it smaller again. I don't know about you, I like the bigger one better. So does my wife. With this very large coin, a bit of visual stimulation. I wish it could be physical, but heck, so many of you, only one of me. So much love to give, so little time. Only one life to live, only one love to give. Visual stimulation. Hope you like it. Oh, please. Oh yeah, do this all day. Think I will.
Oh, that was sick.
Poetry in motion. Thank you. But wait, the poem's not over yet. It's back. It ain't Chucky, but it's back. Do me a favor, feel it, make sure it's there. It is there. Tell me you want it.
I want it.
Because when you want it, it gets even bigger. Ooh.
So that's a taste of the kind of coin magic that Gary Kurtz does. We got a little taste of that trio in 3 too. It's pretty good, man. It's very visual stuff. And again, reads from far away with those big giant coins, right? Really good stuff. You can play for a large audience, and it's
I'm just a sucker for that kind of coin routine, you know.
me too, man.
I'm just
the thing
a
where it's
sucker
going
for
and it's
that.
on both arms.
Yeah, and it's like he's
That's
doing
great.
this thing, and then it gets bigger. It's like I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I just love that stuff.
He's got this great. He's got this really great vanish with a like a silk where you put the coin in it, and then you just cover the coin with silk, and you uncover it, and it's gone. It's a really beautiful vanish that he teaches. I mean, he actually I think his coin magic is some of the best stuff that Gary does. But if you can find any of his instruction on some of the coin stuff that he does, he has some really good teaching, and I really particularly love his. I love his coin theory, his coin stuff. I just think it's really good.
It's really kind of interesting because when you look at, we'll get into more in the next episode of this, but when you look at a lot of the coin magic that he was doing, he was sort of like right there on the cutting edge. He was, bandied about as one of the guys that probably was playing with the idea of the 3-flyer, all that fingertip coins across stuff. At the same time that all the other big guys were doing it, he was just in Canada, so no one was noticing, but Gary was doing the same stuff. He was right there on the cutting edge of all the hardcore coin magic that was coming out in the 90s. Like Gary was definitely a leader in all of that stuff. And, just one of the best. I think he's literally one of the best coin handlers of that era, and probably still can do all of that stuff flawlessly now would be my guess, because once you get it, you got it, right? Awesome stuff though.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when you see, again, we talk about this all the time. You can see he's a worker.
Right.
You can just see that it's not just a lecture. This is stuff he does.
This is his living. This is what he does.
This is stuff he does, and he's fantastic. I mean, that last coin routine is just the kind of thing that, I can remember there was a time I would see that and I'd just be like, oh man, I've got to have that. I don't care how long it takes.
Right.
It's just so great.
Yeah, it hits you so hard when you see
just
that
for
stuff,
me
right?
too. I wouldn't even show anybody. Just for me,
Totally, man. Totally. Good
Yeah, I
stuff.
love it.
Good stuff.